Well, good evening and welcome once again to your Wednesday night midweek thought. Some of you perhaps will remember maybe 2 years ago during the course of a sermon I mentioned an apple tree that grows along the River Braid between Tullygardy Bridge and Railway Street. And at that time I speculated as to how that apple tree came to grow along the river. Perhaps a bird was involved in the distribution of the seed. Maybe somebody walked along the river path and enjoyed an apple, and when they finished their apple, they threw it along the river bank, and eventually it took root and began to grow. Or maybe somebody was walking over Harryville Bridge and they were eating an apple. They finished their apple and they threw it over the river bridge. It floated down the river to where the apple tree now grows. We don't know, nobody knows, I would suspect, how that apple tree got there. But what I know is that come late October, that apple tree produces some lovely apples. Now, they don't look as impressive and they're not as large as the apples you will buy in the greengrocer. They're small, they're hard, but my goodness, they're so tasty. But it's a rather scrawny, twisted tree, half obscured by the larger tree that it shelters under. But as the spring comes and as the blossom appears, you don't notice the tree and how ugly and twisted it actually is. All you notice is the apple blossom. It's so nice, it's quite impressive. It not only obscures the ugly tree and its twisted branches, but at the same time that apple blossom surely gives us reason to hope. After maybe a cold, dark, damp winter, when the blossom appears, it is a reminder, a very definite reminder that not only has spring arrived, but summer is just around the corner. So in a sense, apple blossom is what we might call a harbinger of hope. We see it and it points to the summer. Yet it is so very delicate, isn't it? The apple blossom, indeed any blossom. And those of you who have an interest in the garden will realise that this spring we had some very late and some very hard frosts. And the tree came into fantastic blossom and looked so well one afternoon. But that evening and early morning, the hard frost came, and the next morning the apple blossom had not only shriveled, but because there had been a gentle breeze, it had blown off the tree, and it was very, very noticeable. It's lovely, but it's so delicate. And the same is true, is it not, for hope? And hope is so vital. Hope is so important. Without hope, people very often will despair and almost give up. During, for instance, the recent lockdown in relation to the pandemic, I noted that. I noticed it. Listening to people, talking to people, dealing with people. Some people handled it okay, but there were those who, in the middle of the darkness, in the middle of the loneliness, almost gave up. because they lost hope that the lockdown would ever end. They lost hope the pandemic would ever come to an end. They lost hope that they might ever be able to see their loved ones again and might ever be able to talk to people and to chat with people, to go to the shops, to go to the place of worship, to go here and to go there. Hope, you see, is a very delicate thing. And as you read of the Apostle Paul, you read of a man who was very human and who on occasions almost lost hope. In his travels in Asia, for instance, of which we read in 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 8, we read of someone who had trouble. We read in verse 8 of chapter 1, 2 Corinthians, "For we do not want you to be ignorant, brothers, of the affliction that we experienced in Asia. For we were so utterly burdened beyond our strength that we despaired of life itself." Things were hard, things were difficult for Paul and his comrades. So much so, he says, we despaired of life itself, almost giving up hope. And in verse 9 he says, "Indeed, we felt that we had received the sentence of death." That's how almost hopeless he and his friends felt. We felt as if we had received the sentence of death. Every day was a trial. Every day was difficult. And that's what he said. It's as if we had received the sentence of death. But he sees the hand of God in it all. He realizes God had sent this, God had ordained this, God had allowed he and his friends to go through this for a reason, so that they might learn to put their hope not in themselves, not in their own ability, not in their own zeal, not in their own enthusiasm, not in their own determination, but that they might learn to put all their hope in the Lord. And he says there in verse 9, "But that was to make us rely not on ourselves, but on God, who raises the dead." And then verse 10, "He delivered us from such a deadly peril, and he will deliver us. On him we have set our hope." On him we have set our hope that he will deliver us again. They learned in the darkness, in the loneliness, in the fear, in the despondency, to look beyond themselves and to look to the Lord, their God. And they set their hope in him. And surely, men and women, that's where we need to get to. If we are struggling, if we are finding things difficult, we need to put our hope not in the wisdom of men and women, not in the experts, not in the government, not in those who tell us that they know what is going on and they know how to fix this society. No, we need to put our hope and our trust in the Lord God, who is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Like the apple blossom, hope is a fickle thing, but it need not be if our hope is in the Lord. Let us pray. Our gracious God, we thank you today that you are the God of hope. We thank you that you teach us many lessons during our lives, even as you taught Paul and his companions. And it is our prayer at this time and during the weeks and months that lie ahead, we would put our hope, our confidence in you. For when we do, we will not be disappointed. We will not be dismayed. We will not be let down. We look to you today, our God, and pray you would look down upon us and you would bless us. For it's in the Saviour's name we ask it. Amen.